I don't have a ton of nostalgia for the NES outside of Kirby. It was the first game I ever played, and I loved my little baby game. A lot of the library doesn't really vibe with me, if I'm honest. A lot of old Ninty games just kind of suck in their own way. Not all the games are fucking Battletoads or TMNT or whatever the YouTubers like. There's my favorite NES game, Solomon's Key. Weird new NES games like Space Skulls or fucking Steins Gate or Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Look, if there's one thing I know and love about the NES, it's the bootlegs. This Advent Children one is actually just Final Fantasy VII, and not really Advent Children. It's actually pretty cute though. It's not really fun to play, but I don't know, I dig the bootleg nature of it. It's doing a lot with very little. Then there's the infamous ones like Kung Fu Mari. This is probably the best of the little bootlegs that I played, legit good. It's actually called Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu, a pre-existing game on the NES, so it kinda checks out. However, what isn't good is the infamous Granddad.
Granddad! Flintstones?
The funny meme game from the streamer. Look, I love this meme, it's quality, but the game is miserable. This Flintstones game is a super rare NES game too, worth... Fucking Christ. My favorite of the bootlegs are the Pokemon ones though. There is something about bootleg Pokemon that hits like no other. This one isn't as wild as the others, but holy shit, Cursed Pickles. It's just a 4-in-1, it has a Gem Breaker game, slots, Pac-Man, which I couldn't get the last two to work, but the best is Pika Dance. It's just DDR with Butterfly, and this is so good. This is my happy place. The shit I see every time I close my eyes. It lives inside of me rent fucking free. So, anime is cool. I guess it's time to get serious and talk about this video's namesake, the titular Metal Slader Glory. Let's go over the basics here. Metal Slader Glory is a visual novel/adventure game created at the end of the Famicom era. It's created By Yoshimiru Hoshi, or his alias, Yoshimiru with a star in front of it, which is such a great alias, honestly. Yoshimiru was a freelancer working at HAL Labs when he was creating Metal Slader Glory, which is how the idea eventually ended up being picked up. Yoshimiru worked for an editorial company beforehand named Ganesha, where he edited for a hobby magazine named Fan Road. Fan Road focused a lot on animation and model kits, so a major part of his life ended up being anime and Gunpla. He says how he remembers some of the biggest kits at the time being Ginga Hyoryu VFam and Heavy Metal Elgaim, which, holy shit, the 80s anime magic happening here. That mech design is perfect. And the fucking lightsaber? Yoshimiru would end up freelancing at HAL, building the world of Metal Slader Glory, where he claims, "When I was getting ready to present the game, well, I suppose you couldn't really call it a presentation. It was an attempt at a design doc, a screen mock-up, and a couple of example animations. But while I was waiting to show what I'd made, I was testing it on the PC, and Iwata happened to walk past. He saw the graphics, and the game was given the go-ahead without the presentation." This interview was preserved by Shmupulations, but originally from Famitsu. So the game is basically a visual novel, or an adventure game. There were a few of these on the NES, like Akira. We take the role of Tadashi, a young man who seemingly works in construction since the beginning of the game has us buying what was assumed to be a construction mech. It doesn't take long after activating the mech to realize something isn't normal. A message flashes telling them to search for the creator, Earth is in grave danger. After which the true Metal Slader Glory changes in front of them, revealing itself as something far more than just a construction mech. Metal Sladers were used for battle in a long past war, a war that we find that Tadashi's father was a part of. He's joined by his girlfriend, Elena, and his little sister, Azusa, which is the weirdest and most anime-y part of this game. That gets kinda gross. Jokes are made about the whole sister complex thing, and it's just something to look past and ignore. It's here where the trio decides to venture to the shop they purchased Glory from in order to see if something went wrong on their end. After waiting around, they find the owner, Jen, who explains he's not sure what went wrong, but the Glory is theirs now. Deciding they want to find more about the mysterious mech and the even more mysterious message it gave them, they decided to head to the spaceport and head off to the colonies above, with Glory in tow. Jen gives them a ride, leading to one of the most stunning shots in the game. So let's talk about presentation real quick. This game can look beautiful, some of the best the NES can muster. Like, goddamn, this looks so good, especially with the context of the NES. The game looks like this across the board too. Suddenly you just get some stunning ass shot and you just have to sit there and admire it for a minute. The cockpit shots are frequent through the game, and they are another thing of beauty. With so many limitations, to create something as absolutely amazing as this is absolutely no easy task. Yoshimitsu and crew went far beyond what the NES was capable of. Looks aren't everything though, as this game sounds beautiful. Saiichi Koyoda composed this one, and though he only has a few credits under his belt, I felt like the music was phenomenal across the board. I think my favorite example is the entire opening scene of the game. The whole thing starts with no music, just the sound of waves crashing from the ocean behind the trio as they decide what to do with the Metal Slader. It just set the atmosphere like none other. The only other NES game that comes close is like Metroid. After arriving on the colony, the crew really begins to discover more about the mech they have. They find it's not just any Metal Slader, it's Metal Slader Glory, a prototype unit made as some ultimate weapon. They find out very little about the war that happened many years ago, but on their quest to discover the creator, they do find the pilot, Tadashi's father. Yet any further information on the war or the Glory seem to just not exist, as if something is being withheld from them. It's then the trio find the model number, VMH. This leads them to arrive on the moon, and man, just look at this NES-ass cityscape in the background. Everything cast in shades of blue with the red accent sticking out, the pink glow cast on Azusa. I could gush about this game's visuals all day. A lot of the screens and such were drawn by hand by Yoshimitsu, then translated to the NES. It all resulted in something that I just can't get enough of. Something that sticks out drastically from most of the NES and its library. Now, I think going too far into the story here would do it a disservice. I really think it's worth a playthrough. Open up a guide and follow that. Get the story and really experience it for yourself. While it won't change your life, for about 2 hours of your time, you'll get a sweet little story created so long ago by some of the most passionate people. It's clear the amount of passion that was put into this. Created so deep into the Famicom's lifespan, there was no way it would be a big commercial success, as the Super Famicom loomed closer and closer. Yet it was made anyway. While a SNES Anniversary Edition was created, it was never translated. I hope one day we'll get to experience it, as Metal Slader Glory is worth the time. Okay, so this is the first video on my channel, and something I've been working on for longer than I'd like to admit. I haven't made anything in well over a decade, so getting back into the swing of being creative again is something new to me right now. I'm doing my best, and I will continue to make things about the stuff I really care about. I don't think I'll ever really consider my videos reviews, as I'm really no authority on anything. I'm more interested in talking about things I like and how they make me feel, starting conversations about these things and growing as I do. I'm not the most media literate, but it's one of the many things I hope to strengthen with this channel and the silly little videos that I have planned. You can see updates, access the Discord, get behind the scenes stuff, and support me on Patreon. So hey, thanks for watching.